Hello and welcome to this Come to Jesus Daily devotional where we continue in our series in the book of Ephesians. And today's devotional is entitled A Vision of Our Eternity in Christ. Today, as we look at Ephesians 2, 4-7, we're going to see a vision of what we're going to be doing in all eternity. Let's reflect on our great purpose, the great ends for which God has chosen us. Let's read again from Ephesians 2, 4-7. But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in transgressions. It is by grace you have been saved. And God raised us up with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms in Christ Jesus. And then he says, in order that, the purpose we're saved by grace, in order that in the coming ages he might show the incomparable riches of his grace, expressed in his kindness to us in Christ Jesus. So we have this firstly, this in order that. Paul doesn't stop at describing what God has done for us in his grace, in his power. He's made the dead alive. He has saved us. He's raised us. He's adopted us. He's seated us with him in the heavenly realms right now, as we've seen in previous devotionals. He now tells us why. In order that our salvation has a great purpose. It's not only for our own joy and benefit, but for something far greater. Secondly, God's plan is to show how great his love and mercy are eternally in us. Although in us, he's going to show one another and the angels looking on in us, and when we are raised, we are going to show the greatness of the glory and grace of God by how he has transformed such disqualified people. God has saved us so that in the coming ages he might show the incomparable riches of his grace expressed in his kindness to us in Christ Jesus. For eternity, and both in heaven and now, and in the new creation to come, God's plan is to display in us his inexhaustible grace. Forever, angels and redeemed people will marvel at his love and mercy and power and salvation as they look at us and what he's done in us. And this theme is already introduced in chapter 1, where Paul says that God's blessing of election and holiness and adoption and redemption are all given to the praise of his glorious grace, which he has freely given us in the one he loves. That's Ephesians 1:6. God acts for his glory. Yes, and I hope we do experience immense joy at being saved and at the hope we have, eternal hope. But ultimately, creation, redemption, and restoration all exist everlastingly for the praise of God and the praise of his glorious grace. And I guess as we look into eternity as best we can, this tiny glimpse, we ask ourselves, will this be boring? Will it be boring to live forever? People ask these sorts of things, don't they? Surely it's going to be boring to be in heaven and the new heavens and the new earth. Well, if this fallen world can captivate us and bring joy to us and bring new experiences to us for this lifetime, how much more will the new heavens and the new earth in the full brightness of the glory of God bring us eternal joy and new experiences and novel things? Will we be bored? Never. Not a day will be boring in that new heavens and new earth in God's presence. Think of the joy of exploring a gallery or a museum. As you go round, each painting, each artifact captivates us afresh. interests us. So it will be as we behold one another in our glorified and redeemed state. We will be so surprised at seeing one another as we will be. We'll still recognize each other as we were, but we'll see each other as in Christ's finished work for which he suffered. And we're a bit like those artifacts in the museum. We will be constantly amazed at what God has done in us forever. So in response, do you feel you lack something today? Well, look again at his incomparable riches of grace expressed in his kindness to us in Christ Jesus. Consider not only the present, your present standing of adoption, being raised, alive, seated, but also that future, what you will be, the glory and joy you will have in those eternal ages, in that eternal perfect state. Do you see that salvation by grace is meant to stir us to endless thanksgiving and worship? Is your life and is our church overflowing with gratitude, overflowing with hope? Let's do now what we will do forever: praise and be amazed at God's glorious grace. God bless you.